Alrighty, focus, focus.
Everybody focus.
It's our last day of science, essentially, before break, because we've got art tomorrow.
Hey, why is it?
On Monday, my friend's going to play catch-up during science with any missing assignments to make sure we have everything in before report cards are done. And on Tuesday, we're doing fun stuff all day long. So, I need your, I need your listening ears. 3, 2, 1. Dax, give me a point. You should have your name, number, date on it by now because it's a quiz and it's an assignment. So if you don't, get it down quickly. Today is the 17th, so 12, 17, 20. And all of these things are things you do without your voice. Turn your body into your desk. You only need one pencil to write. Riley, can you be in control?
Yeah.
Alrighty. I want to read through before you quiz. So Groove, your pencils. I'm curious who can tell me the color of your hair. Is that inherited or not? Is it something that you get from your parents or not? Riel?
Yes.
Yes, we get our hair color from our parents. Who's got 3 more things that you can get from your parents? Dax, tell me one.
You can get your eye color.
Eye color is an inherited trait. Braylon. Freckles are inherited traits. Addison.
Your body. Skin.
Neither of you are Addison. Check your voice.
You can get the thing that you write.
Oh yeah, if you're right-handed or left-handed, you can get from your parents also. Very good. Parents aren't the only way that we can get our traits. What's another place that you can get some traits from, some learned traits from, other than your genes? Thinking of a word that starts with an E.
I'm not wearing.
Maddie.
I don't know the word that starts with
Right, but I'm looking for something other than our parents that we can get traits from. You're right. Our parents teach us to walk, and that's a learned trait. But some of our learned traits are more behavioral because of things around us. What's that word to describe our surroundings, Gunnar?
Environment. Self-control.
You are, find your self-control because you're not Gunnar. You weren't called on.
I like something
Oh, hold on to that one.
your skin.
Do you remember what we call the space around us, what surrounds us? Starts with an E.
Area.
No. Landon?
Environment.
Our environment. So focus, focus.
Everybody focus.
You can get traits from 2 different places. You can get them from your parents. Where's one place you can get them?
Parents.
Those are your inherited traits. You can also get them from your environment. What's the second place?
Environment.
Usually those are going to be behavioral traits that you do. However, in yesterday's plant simulation in your slides, in one of them the sun was like way off in the corner, right? In what direction did the plant grow? Did it go straight? No, it went to the side. It went towards the sun. That is an environmental behavioral trait, right? Because of the environment, because of where the sun is, the plant grew differently. It wasn't because the parent said, hey plant, grow at an angle. It wasn't because their genes were like, oh, the way that you're designed, you are going to grow crooked. It was because of the environment. Similarly, if you look down to number 4, it says if a tree doesn't grow straight because it's next to a house. So if a house is too close to the tree for it to grow straight up and it has to start angling, what would be the cause of that happening? Did its parents tell it to grow at an angle? Did its offspring tell it to grow at an angle?
No.
Did its heredity, the traits from its parents, tell it to grow at an angle?
No.
Did its environment?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I also wanted to talk about some learned traits and instincts, like our bush babies. You read about bush babies yesterday also, and we know that they had really large eyes, right? And what are some things that their really large eyes helped them to do? Jade. They can see at night. Maddie. Say that again. See big? Oh, yeah. So they can see their food better. Braylon? Look out for predators. So those are all things that they needed to do because what were their instincts? What was something that they were born ready to do? They didn't have to learn. It was just an instinct. Emerson.
I had it, then it just went away.
Brielle?
No one had to climb.
Say that again.
No one had to climb.
Oh, yeah. Nobody had to teach them how to climb. They just did it. Right? That was an instinct. What is an instinct that you had as a baby that nobody taught you to do? You just started doing it day one. Rylan?
See colors?
Oh, that's true. Your vision is an instinct, yes. I'm thinking if you've ever had a baby sibling, they do it all the time, Dax. They cry. Did their parents teach them how to cry?
No.
Did their siblings teach them how to cry? So if no one taught it to them, is it a learned trait? If no one taught it to them, if they never learned it, was it a learned trait? No, we would call that an instinct. So if you look at number 2, an instinct is a behavior that's not done automatically, but is learned. Would that be true or false? When you were born, crying is an instinct. Was it something that you did automatically or did you learn it?
Automatically.
So they're saying instincts are not done automatically. You have to learn it. Is that true or false? Oh. Some things that our bush babies learned how to do. You guys talked about how they could see animals at night, and that's excellent. Who taught them? Who taught them to be hunting for their prey at nighttime? Savannah. Oh, right now I asked, who taught the bush babies to be hunting their prey at nighttime? Jade. Dax? Their parents. They probably watched their parents and started off hunting with their parents, right? And they learned it then. What are some things that you have learned to do? Some learned traits. Emerson.
To walk.
You learned to walk. Riley, what's something you learned?
Football.
You learned to play football. Ellie.
I had to talk.
How to talk. Dax.
How to do schoolwork.
How to do schoolwork. I learned how to ice skate. River.
How to do karate.
How to do karate. Maddie.
I know exactly.
Uh-oh. Ooh. It's Maddie's turn to share, so should anyone else's voices be going?
Go.
Perfect. Savannah.
It's kind of both because I learned how to walk, but then I just started doing this. I was walking like this, and I just went like that all around the kitchen.
Okay.
And that's how I walked.
Are you guys ready for me to read through the quiz for you?
Yeah.
Pick up your pencils.
Pick up your pencil.
There is no longer any talking aloud, so you may answer your questions. And we're going to go through. Numero uno says, the color of your hair when you are born is an inherited trait. Think if that is true or false. Don't say it, think it, and mark your answer. Hair color is an inherited trait. True or false? You might want to be looking back through to make sure you didn't miss any of the tricky. Number 2 says, an instinct is a behavior that's not done automatically, but is learned. So what they're saying is, you had to learn your instincts, like crying or like blinking. So you need to think, is that true or false? And mark it down. Don't say it. Just mark your answer. Number 3 says, which is an example of a learned trait? Roller skating, hair color, eye color, or plant shape. So you have to think, did you learn how to roller skate? Did you learn how to choose what color your hair is? Did you learn how to choose what color your eyes are? Did plants have to learn what shape they are?
Yeah.
Mark down the one that is a learned trait. Number 4 says, if a tree does not grow straight because it's next to a house, its shape is a trait caused by blank. So you're thinking, did the parents make the tree grow crooked? Did the environment make the tree grow crooked? Did the tree's offspring make it grow crooked? Or did its heredity make it grow crooked? You're going to mark which one, why. Which one would be an example of that house? Something surrounding the tree. Its parents, the environment, offspring, or heredity. For number 5, it says, give an example of a learned trait. Please remember that you get graded on your sentence structure for these. So for my fast quiz takers, you might want to double check that you have an actual sentence for your answer, or you're going to be missing some points. Sentences start with a and end with punctuation. Plus, it's got to make sense. Has to be a complete thought, subject, and predicate. So, give an example of a learned trait. There was one example in number 3. You cannot use that example. So you cannot say your answer for number 3. You have to think of something different. So you can say like, blank is a learned trait. Or one example of a learned trait is blank.
I don't have any.
But it does need to be a complete sentence. You've got a pink eraser, Skylar. Make sure that your friends, it's not just 2 words or 1 word. It needs to be a whole sentence. So double check that you've got a whole sentence answering that problem. Blank is a learned trait. Or one learned trait is blank.
is a learned trait.
What? How stupid.
Think of something that you have learned.
Something that you learned. Can you give me an example, Brylan?
Alrighty, here's our last one. What affects an organism's traits? We thought of 2 things, and I listed them. I said the first one is this, the second one is this, right? You can inherit them from somebody, so you might say like blank and blank affect organisms' traits. Or organisms' traits are affected by blank and blank. One of them are the people that you inherit your traits from. One of them is that space around you. So we talked about those words and how you can get traits for things. They just need to be written into a complete sentence. And the word affects just means like it has to do with it, and it can alter or change, change them, or it can give you those traits. Okay? So there's 2 different ways that we can get our traits. You can inherit them from blank, or you can learn them or adapt to them from blank. So make sure that you've got those 2 listed in a complete sentence. And when you're done, sit tight with it, please.